Hi there, I'm Sandy Allnock, and I feel like I should change my middle name from Lee to Grateful because I am so thankful for everybody who has made 2014 such an amazing, amazing year. It's been a real roller coaster at times. I've had my ups and my downs, but all of you have seen me through it, and I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. From my personal friends who have held me up and carried me through and volunteered when I needed help, and taking me out to bingo, and yeah, all of you who are just so amazing, thank you. And then all of the people who subscribe to my blog and my YouTube channel and are willing to have all those emails sent to you every time I post some crazy thing, and then you click play. Thank you for clicking play. To all of my mentors in the industry, this growing group of women, this circle of amazing human beings who are so creative and so business-minded and so friendly and so real. Thank you for bringing me into this fold and teaching me what you know and mentoring me through this process. To all of my business partners who have given me opportunities that I never expected would come my way, I appreciate you. You're wonderful people. You may have noticed that my video quality has been increasing, especially of late, and that is due to a small band of people that I call my patrons. They've joined me over on patreon.com, and man oh man, due to their support, I was able to buy better equipment and better software for editing. That means I can produce more videos faster at better quality and share more with you. So you should say thank you to them too, because they're amazing and generous, kind-hearted people. So because I am so grateful for all of you, all of these people mentioned, and so many more, I'm going to do a giveaway. This is going to be the 24 Tags of Christmas giveaway. Maybe it'll become a tradition, who knows. This week I have 6 videos going live. Yes, 6! Oh my gosh. And I have worked very hard on coming up with really cool techniques that I think you're going to really enjoy in these videos. I think they're some of my best. And in each video, I'm going to be producing 4 tags. Sometimes they're identical, sometimes they're just variations on a theme, but at the end, I'll have 24 to give away. There will be 24 winners. How do you qualify to win, you may ask? Well, all you have to do is comment here on the YouTubes. You can comment on my blog. For extra credit, you can share it on your Facebook or your Twitter or your Pinterest or your blog or wherever you share things. And I will be picking winners on the 16th and announcing them on the 18th, because it's going to take me a while to get 24 names picked out of all of that. All right, I am excited to bring you day 1 of the 24 Tags of Christmas. Let's get going. I am going to be using this W+9 brand new set. It's called Winter Pals. Has great sentiments, 4 little critters, and some accoutrements that go with them. And these brand new tag dies from Simon Says Stamp. So I already have my tags cut out and a sentiment stamped on the top. And I bent the sentiment on my block so I could get a little wave going out of it. I don't have a full design in mind for my tags, but I wanted to make sure that I had maybe a little place where on each one where I could have something taller on the tag. I've been playing around with backgrounds, and I don't know, I'm not really great with watercolory, washy looking things, but I'm getting better. As you can see, I'm kind of liking what this is doing. I've been playing around with different fabrics and tapping things off and rubbing color on and splatterings and all kinds of stuff. Things like this paper towel that I discovered that has this very cool texture to it. I'm now going to be shopping for the right kind of paper towels when I go to the grocery store and see if I can find something with other patterns that I can use in my crafting. But it comes out pretty cool. It works better with heavier colors and thicker watercolor ink than it does, and I don't know if it's ink in there, paint, but it doesn't work really well on light colors. Let me just say that. So I'm just playing around on all 4 of these backgrounds and splooging color on, mushing it around. With watercolor, it seems like the more water you put on, the easier the blending. So if you want a really soft look, use more water. If you want a harder edge look, then use less. And a lot of times I'll just let things dry and then paint over top of them so that I can get some of that dry brush look as well. I even decided I would try painting some on my craft mat and then splooging it around after that, so give myself a different thing to start from and just push some color around and, I don't know, just playing. Tags are a really great place to do that because they're not, you know, it's not a really big deal, it's not a really big commitment. So I could even play with loading up my brush with ink, or with ink, such a stamper, loading it up with paint and splattering it, or here I'm just using the paper towel to rub it sideways instead of just, you know, tapping it off. So you can get all different kinds of looks. Just play around with it and have fun with your watercolors. Because I'm having fun with them, and I'm really feeling like I'm cheating on my Copics when I color with my watercolors. These are the little talk bubbles from Simon Says Stamp, and I decided to use those on my tags so that I could have a to and from and use them as a real tag. Although one of you is going to get to use each one of these. Although I suspect some folks are not going to send them to anyone with a gift. But I wanted them to have a little softer color on them, so I just did a little quick watercolor wash and wiped it off of those. And now for the little critters. There's 4 of them in this stamp set, and they're really fun to color. They're pretty simple images, and yet they have enough detail for a crazy colorer like me to be interested in playing around with them and stuff. So I just got out my little brush, and I'm finding I'm liking the brush better than the water brush in many cases, especially if I'm watercoloring at home. If I'm watercoloring out somewhere, if I take something with me, then the water brush works great because I don't have to carry any watercolor with me or any water with me. But this little sketch box, I think they call it a sketch box, with these koi watercolors is fabulous for that. I mean, I can go sit in a doctor's office and wait and be painting, and it's a little teeny tiny box, and if I take a water brush with me and some stamped images on some watercolor paper, it works really great. I'm doing all this work, both the tags and these little critters, on Tim Holtz Distress watercolor paper, the watercolor cardstock. And it works really well, especially what I'm doing right now, because it holds up to a lot without getting all bendy and warpy. The way that I have these set up right here for filming this was I took a little cutting board, a little wood cutting board, and I put on the back of each one of these a little power tab. I didn't press them down really hard, but they stick just enough when I set them down lightly that I can paint over top of them and they don't move. And then when I finished, I was able to remove them really easily by just basically kind of turning the thing, and it just peeled that power tab right off of the wood perfectly fine. And I also did my die cutting before I did my coloring. Some people like to do it the other way. They don't want to do the die cutting unless the coloring came out worth the effort of die cutting. But for me, die cutting can be a challenge. I can't tell you the number of times I get an image all colored and it's beautiful, and I go to die cut it and then it's off by just a little bit. So I don't know, I did these on the first try, and I don't know whether it's the factor of the dies or whether it's just that I had a good day of die cutting, but these came out perfect the first time. So that was a good thing. So I'm just painting in my color, and I'm doing layers, as just like I do with my Copics, so I can't seem to get away from that. I know watercolor is supposed to look effortless and washy, but mine doesn't really do that, because I really like all that little detail and the definition and the dimension and all that shading. That's just kind of how I roll. So feel free to do your coloring any way you want to do them. It's all about individual expression. But I am coloring each section that's not next to another colored section. So basically I'm not coloring his scarf until his body is dry. And I'm not coloring the little guy's hat until his body is dry. Although I did forget his ears. I have to go back and do those later. But I try to not color 2 objects that are next to each other, just so I don't accidentally pull in some wet paint from one thing into the wrong section. That kind of can be a problem. When you're coloring something black like this with watercolor, I tend to start darker and then just add more water and then dab off with a paper towel to lighten it rather than go the other direction. I don't know why that is. It's just the way that I do it. You're watching, so you're getting my technique, not what most people do. So I don't really know. I don't watch a lot of watercoloring videos. That might be why I'm not very good at watercolor, because I have limited time, so I try to spend my time on other kinds of things that will inspire me, and maybe I'll need to start watching some watercolor and get a better idea of what more I can do with these. So I'm filling in each one of the sections little bit by little bit and going back into each of the other images as they get dry so that I can work more detail into them. Once something is dry and you put another layer on top, you can remove some of that color. If you put enough water on it, you can lighten it, but mostly it's just going back in to darken things and to even stuff out rather than to lighten it. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about Dawn. Dawn is the person behind, the genius behind the W+9 stamps and all their products, and she is a fabulous person. I got to meet her last month before, I think it was in October, and she is a kick in the pants. She is the sweetest thing, and she's incredibly creative. For those who have been enjoying my Magical Monday series and the crazy artisticness that I bring to paper crafting, because it comes from being a graduate in an art program, so I actually have mad drawing skills legitimately. I studied hard for those. Go check out Dawn's stuff. I'll leave links in the doobly-doo to her YouTube channel and to her blog and everything, and see the stuff that she's doing. Even watch her Instagram. I was looking just a couple of days ago, and if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see on her Instagram this little bird that is just the sweetest thing, and I don't know how she does it, but man, it was absolutely amazing. I so want to learn from her. I just think the two of us need to get together and have a coloring date somewhere so I can pick her brain. She unfortunately lives on the other side of the country, so we're stuck just texting back and forth, but sometimes I feel like she's my sister from another mother. So she's doing wild things with watercolor while I'm doing wild things with Copic, and then recently we just swapped. I started doing these watercolors and she was playing with Copic, so we had a good chuckle about trading off on the mediums that we were using. It was kind of funny because we have our go-to things. I think we all do, but it's always nice to stretch our wings a little bit. And for me in particular, stretching into watercolor has been a lot of fun. You've probably noticed on my YouTube channel I've been playing with watercolor pencils and watercolor paints and all different kinds of fun stuff lately. And I've got more coming up this week in the tag series with some shiny watercolor that I get to introduce to you. I'm very excited about all these videos coming up in this tag series. So I hope that you will stay tuned to the tag series and pick up some tips along the way. And for all of them, as always, links in the doobly-doo to all the products. So all of you who email me asking me what I used or leaving comments, please be sure to check the description, and sometimes you have to click that show more button in order to get that list to appear. So maybe that's why people keep asking questions for things that are answered in there. So I'm just kind of finishing up the last little details on my little critters and adding just those final shadows. It's the same thing I do with my Copics. I like to go back in at the very end and just tweak things and make sure my darks are a little on the darker side, add a little bit of beef to the colors so that they just really sparkle and shine. That contrast is always, even in watercolor, is one of the things that makes an image really pop. And here they pop on these cute little tags. So on some of them I added some Signo Pen snowflakes. Then I stamped the images in the background except for the little penguin who's got his little die cut iceberg that he's on. But the one on the left, let me draw your attention to the fox's iceberg. I painted that with Copic white after stamping it in Ranger, and the Ranger ink actually resisted the Copic white, which was a little surprise to me. So I'm going to see if I can play around with that more and figure out how we can do that in a controlled way and what that might do for us in our crafting and come up with some fun techniques using it. So we'll see. I gotta find some playtime. I seriously need some playtime. It's good for the soul. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to come back all week long. Here's snippets of what the others will look like. These will all turn into annotations as those videos come live. And the 24 tags of Christmas annotation word in the center will take you to my blog. So if you would like to see stills that will show you some close-ups of the images on the tags, etc., that will all be on my blog. And again, products and everything are in the description in the doobly-doo down below, as well as Dawn's information for W+9. I hope you guys have a great day. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.